I would say ever since the original iPad, and certainly ever since the very first Surface 2-in-1 PC, people have always wanted to be able to play legit AAA title games on these devices. After all, in comparison to thicker, more traditional gaming laptops, these things are just more fun and convenient to actually use. But unfortunately, the technology just wasn't there yet. Companies did occasionally try to make a device like that, but they always seemed to fail. But technology did its thing, chips got smaller, faster, more efficient, and we are now just getting the very first wave of legit gaming 2-in-1 tablets. And here my top two devices are the new Asus Flow Z13 and the newly announced OnexPlayer Super X. When it comes to the hardware, these devices are truly like the Microsoft Surface, meaning that at its core, these are just tablets with detachable magnetic keyboards, a kickstand, stylus support, and so on. Really, the only giveaway and the hint that these things are higher performance devices is in their thickness. At least for now, these devices are somewhat chunky in comparison to regular tablets, although if you compare these against gaming laptops, they are still significantly smaller and more portable. And at the heart of these machines, the thing that for the very first time is making this form factor possible is the brand new AMD 395 Plus APU. And this thing is super impressive, and it's comparable in benchmarks to the RTX 4070. But of course, it does this with integrated graphics, meaning that the CPU, the GPU, it's all on one chip. That's what makes it an APU. And in comparison to having two separate chips, this thing is way more space and power efficient, which is why it's possible to put this thing inside of a slim 2-in-1 tablet and get that level of performance. Now, I do want to quickly compare this chip against the Z1 and the Z2 Extreme, because this APU is more common and it shares a lot of similarities with the 395 Plus. So in terms of similarities, they're both based off the same Zen 5 architecture. Really, the main difference is that the 395 Plus is a supercharged version of the Z2 Extreme. So for instance, on the CPU side, this thing has double the cores, meaning that the multi-core performance is about 50% faster than with the Z2 Extreme. But really the main upgrade here is when it comes to the integrated GPU, and of course this has the biggest impact on the gaming performance. The 395 Plus has the 8060S iGPU, which is home to 40 compute units. For comparison, the Z2 Extreme has the very capable 890M, but even so, that only has 16 compute units. And it's why the 395 Plus, when it comes to graphical benchmarks, scores over 100% faster. So hopefully that helps to give some perspective on this chip and how it's making this level of performance possible in these 2-in-1 gaming tablets. Now, when it comes to this Z13 and the Super X, even though they're using the same chip, the Super X manages to push 120 watts of power to this chip, while the Z13 is limited to about 90 watts. But I think the difference comes down to the size, because the Super X is a 14-inch tablet, giving a little bit more internal space for that cooling system, and the Z13 is just a little bit smaller at 13 inches. Now, speaking of the display, this is the other main differentiator between these two devices. So we just touched on the size difference, but the display panel technology is also different here. The Super X opts for an AMOLED screen, while the Z13 has a more traditional, still very high quality IPS panel. And on the refresh rate, the Z13 actually has the slight advantage, running at 180 Hz versus 120 on the Super X. So you can see we have some slight differences between these two products, but overall I am super excited for this next generation of portable 2-in-1 gaming tablets. This is something that we've been wanting for a super long time, but the technology to make it happen just wasn't there. And it seems like with this new generation from AMD, this kind of device is finally possible, and honestly, it's exceeding my expectations. I'll go ahead and leave these products linked below the video. If you guys enjoyed, I appreciate a like, subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.